All right. Um, I just want to say welcome to everybody who's here today to this open session. There will be a recording of this posted on the help desk as with the previous sessions. And so um, this morning I'll be taking questions from you, anything that you would like help with or you would like clarification on, any issues that you'd like to demonstrate or you'd like me to take a look at. What you can do is I don't have microphones muted right now, so if you do have one, I'll ask that you keep it muted unless you have a question to ask. You are welcome to ask over your microphone if you have one. Otherwise, if you would like to just type your questions into the chat channel, I will answer them in the order that I get them. And yeah, so with that said, um, let me know what, if anything, you would like to look at or you would like my help with, and we can get started with that. Right. So, does anybody have any questions to start out with?
This is Barbara, and I
Hey,
do
Barbara.
have a question about putting in the sidebars, taking things out of them and putting new things in the sidebars. I know you've gone over it before, but I must have gotten confused at that time because I can't do it.
Okay, and remind me, you're at Harney County, is that?
Yes.
Okay, let me pull up your site then. And I haven't spent a lot of time on how to do that so far, but I'm happy to. So, so what you're talking about is these sides with the calendar and upcoming events and all this stuff?
Yes.
Okay. So, and the name for what we call those is portlets.
Portlet.
Yeah, and so a portlet is just it's a little box where you can throw lots of different kinds of content. So each one of these boxes here is a portlet, and they're just different types of portlets. So and there are some. I can refer you to the knowledge base on the help desk. There are a couple of articles on with some of the information that we'll go over on this. So just if you need to refer to those in the future, you can. So to edit those, what you'll do is when you're signed in, at the bottom of the page, you'll see this long button that says Manage Portlets. And so anytime you click that, it'll take you to the portlet management screen for the page or folder that you're currently on. So, for instance, right now I'm on the home page. So, and that's going to be this welcome page that's displayed in the home folder. And so when I go to manage portlets, it's going to take me to the portlet management screen for that page. And so when I go there, what I'll see is just like on the main page, you'll see that there's rows on the left and right side of the page, and they'll have a couple different categories. So the categories are portlets assigned here, and parent portlets, group portlets, and content type portlets. So you can see those listed up and down the left and right sides of the screen. So right now on this page, you'll see that each side has 3 gray boxes, and each of those gray boxes represents a portlet. And they're all under the parent portlets section right now. So that indicates that these are being inherited from somewhere else. So there's no portlets that are set up as a part of this specific page, but these are the ones that will be displayed when you're on this page. So if you want to, so from this page,
Here's my question.
Yeah,
This
sure.
online payment on the right-hand side, I want that to show up on all of my pages,
Uh-huh.
and I don't have to put that on a page when I go to a page that doesn't have it.
Okay. So one of the things you can do, what I'm going to do is go up to the home folder, because this online payment portlet is coming from a parent folder. So I'm going to go to where it was assigned. So it is, so any portlet that's set up on the home folder should show up by default everywhere else. So and you'll see that with like the navigation portlet and the calendar, like you should see those on every page. I believe you will. So is there a, so let's see, if I go to, for example, the kids section, I see the navigation portlet right here, and the location and hours portlet, and the online payment one. So is there somewhere that you're not seeing this show up?
Actually, I don't know why, but I am seeing it everywhere now.
Yeah, it should be visible everywhere, and that's, again, that's because it's assigned at the, like, on the home folder. So that's the like the starting point for the entire site, and anything you assign there will show up on every page of your site unless you specifically say you don't want it to.
Okay, it's not showing up on the news and events page.
Okay, so I'll go there, and okay, so what I see is I'm not seeing the navigation portlet, and I'm not seeing the location and hours or the online payment. So if I go to, so while I'm on the news and events page, if I go to manage portlets, then let's see. And so right now I'm looking at the portlet management screen for the page itself, but I'm going to click on this Go Here link in the info box to go to the portlet management screen for the folder, the news and events folder itself. And so what I see is under this parent portlet section where you see the online payment and all this stuff, there this setting right here says block. And so what that's going to do is it's going to keep all of these portlets from displaying. So
okay,
you have a couple of options here. So if your other option here is do not block, if you do that, then it's going to show you all of these portlets, which the way it's set up indicates that y'all may not want that done that way, but you do have the option to unblock those portlets and it'll show all of them. The other thing that you can do is if you click on the title of the online payment one, it'll go to the edit page for that, and you can copy everything that's in here and then back out of this, and you can actually go to add portlet and select static text, paste what you copied in there, and then say online payment. And so you can basically recreate that portlet in this folder.
okay.
So there's and so what that'll do is it'll give you the same thing that's on the rest of your pages, but it won't require you to also show your navigation and location and hours portlets on this page, or in this folder rather.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I have a question that kind of ties in with this.
Okay.
We decided not to have all the, you have the bar with navigation across the top, and then all of those were repeated on the left side.
Yes.
So we were trying to find a way to pick and choose which ones we could have there, but they're all grouped. Is there any way to do it so that we can just pick one or two?
So, and this is something that we've heard some feedback about, and we're working on some changes to the top navigation menu that will allow us more control over it. But right now, the only thing that, so as far as like modifying what shows up on the top menu. All you can
No,
do is, sorry?
We're trying to change the left side menu.
Okay. The left side, you can, so there's an exclude from navigation option on each piece of content that you have. So, and that's under, when you go to edit and then go to settings, you'll see exclude from navigation. And that'll keep it from showing up here. However, it will also, if you set that on a folder, it will also keep it from showing up on the top navigation. So it will. Sorry.
How do we add a link on the left?
When you say add a link,
right?
Do you just mean like add anything here, or specifically like add a link, like content?
Yeah. How do we make sure it goes on? I mean, when we add a link, how do we determine where it ends up going?
You mean when you click on it, or like where it ends up showing up on here?
Where it shows up on the page.
So you would control that by where you add it to. So say, for instance, you're on your home page and you say, okay, I want to add a link. What that's going to do is it's going to add it to the home folder. So, because that's where you are when you're on the home page. So if you want to add it somewhere else, and so if you add it while you're in the home folder, it'll add it into that, and it'll show up on the top level, like it'll show up just like this stuff is on.
So it'll be automatically on the left.
Yes. So
okay.
If you want to add it somewhere else, then if you go, say, I want to add something in the news and events folder, I can go to that, and then I can add whatever content item I want to, and it'll show up as like in that news and events folder. So here it wouldn't show up. It would show up as a sub item for the in this menu. So see, like right now you're not, like you don't see any items that are inside news and events right now because of the way the navigation menu is set up. But if I click on something that I gotta find something that does have the same navigation menu on it. So see, like if I go into the kids folder, there's a subfolder for teens that shows up. But if I'm in the home folder, you don't see that teens option because it's collapsed. So it's inside the kids folder.
Thank you.
So does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, cool. Let's see, let me go up here. I have uploaded a link for the document Freedom of Information Act, which should be under the heading About Us. It doesn't appear. If one searches for Freedom of Information Act, the link will appear. What needs to be done? Let's see. Can you, viewer 29, can you tell me what site you're, can you tell me your URL so I can go to your site and see what you're seeing?
Sure. It's SOTUS, TWP.cloud.net.
Sorry, what was that first part?
SOTUS, SODUS, TWP.cloud.net.
Did I get that right?
Let's see here. Oops. Wait, let me get back here. Well, okay, now I'm not seeing it. Oh, okay. TWP instead of TWP.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. So, and you're saying under your About Us, you're looking to have that Freedom of Information Act.
Right.
Okay. So, and so what you're looking for is to have it. Are you looking to have it show up in the navigation menu?
Yeah, just under the About Us.
Okay.
Along with Contact Us. And, yeah.
Okay. So I think what's happening, let me check the site setup before I say. Yeah, okay. So the way the navigation menus are set up, they will not show files, and so this document is uploaded as just a file, which is a generic content type, and so there's a couple of different ways we can address that.
Okay.
So the first I would ask, is there? Let's see. Okay, so this probably does. You probably do want to keep this as a Word document on here. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
I
it's like
don't
10
know how else
pages.
to do it.
Yeah, and sometimes it works. Like it makes sense to like take the text and paste it in so that it's not in that document. But so one of the things that let's see. So what's happening? Yeah. So like I said, like the navigation menus are not set up to show files. So
Oh, okay.
one of the things that might be easy to do is to just allow it to show files. But I don't know if those settings might get overridden during an update, and that might mess it up. But one of the things that we can do is the link content type does show up in the navigation menu. So what we can do is in the About Us, well, I'll add a link. And then, let's see. Oh, how do I do this? It would help for me to remember how this is done before I try to show you how to do it.
Oh. Well, it'd help me if I remembered what you said after.
Oh, well, let me figure out how to say it first, and then we'll get there.
Okay.
Let me see if this works correctly. So what I'm doing here, so that requires an extra click, so I'm not crazy about it. There might be a way to get around that, and I can check up with that with one of our developers who's a bit more familiar with how that works. But so what I'm doing here is basically adding another item to your folder.
Okay.
And you can see that when you go to the contents view in your About Us folder, you can see you've got this document here, and then you've got this link, which is another. It's just another piece of content. And all I did was when I went to the document here, and I just took this the URL and added it. When I created the link, just added that URL to it, and you can see then it shows up in the About Us. One of the things that so what I'm trying to figure out is if there's a way to make it just open that, go directly to the file instead of doing what it's doing now, and there may be. So let me make a note to myself to check up on that, and I will. What was your name?
Lynn Sisson, Sisson.
Okay, let me. I'll make a note to follow up with you after this about what kind of configuration we have. But so do you understand the two options that we have there?
Well, I think so. I'm sort of going by my bootstraps on these things, but so it takes me a little while to sort of figure all this out. But
sure,
but that's better than what I was doing, because I was just doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah. If you don't know what to do, then it's hard to make any progress. Yeah. So, sorry.
I do have one more question, because I was adding the recurring events for the calendar and the list. And the event that we have, which is a needlework club, it meets every Monday except the first Monday of each month. So I'm trying to, even though it meets weekly, I've got to show the exclusion of that first Monday. And I didn't see a way to do that.
Yeah, that's a little bit. I can see that would be difficult to do, kind of programmatically.
Well, even
because
if I could put
you
those dates in as exclusions, I could go through the year of dates and just do that.
Yeah.
But I don't see that.
There's no way through this interface to do that, to do it to say like it's 3 Mondays and then another Monday. But one thing so the only option you would have for this would be to just click through these sets of dates and just find each first Monday and just hit this little exclude icon.
Okay.
So
I see. I didn't know what that symbol was to the right. Oh, okay. That's fine.
So you will be able to do that. And I know we've kind of been able to brush past this since we haven't gotten a lot of questions about it currently, but there is a small bug in this form. So if you you see down here, there's little ranges of numbers, and you'll see like when I click on the 11 to 20, it changes to 11 to 10. And then 21 to 10. So that display issue is not a problem. But if you have more than 100 occurrences, then when you try to click through that, it's gonna throw an error. So just if you are doing creating a recurring event that has a whole lot of occurrences, you may not be able to remove those ones further on down the line. So just a thing to be aware of. We are working on addressing that, but
well, I appreciate the information.
Yeah, sure. Happy to help. And like I said, I will follow up with you after this about once I get more information about how to use those links correctly. So we can get you something that works for what you're doing.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Let's see. Next question. On our Kids and Teens page, and this is from Marianne, on our Kids and Teens page, there's a separate Kids Corner page that has a grid of links. Cannot get the middle school page to look like that. Was it done with a grid or something? Okay, Veer 97. Hold on. Okay, yeah, thanks, Marianne. Let me get to your site. All right, let me figure out what we're talking about again. All right, so in the Kids Corner, okay, so we've got this grid, and then so you're looking to do the middle school one in a similar fashion. Ooh, that's looking a little bit different. Okay. All right, so let's see, to look at how this was done, I'll go to Edit. I'm sorry for the difficulty that you're having with that. I know that it does make it a little bit difficult to connect for the audio on these. And it's an unfortunate part of using this tool. I'm sorry that it's hard there. Let me see. So let's see. This was done using a table, which you should be able to do similarly on the page that you're working on. Let's see. If I go to edit here. So if you want to add a table to this page to do that with, then you can just go to this menu and you can say, okay, how many? This was 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I don't know if you want to do exactly the same thing there, but you could do something like that, and then you'd be able to take these and throw them in here. So it's not entirely pretty. Let's see. Yes. So what I'm doing here is just I'm highlighting and then pressing Control X to cut it, and then Control V to paste it. Yeah. And so you should be able to do something similar, and it might take a little bit of messing around with it to get each individual cell of the grid lined up the way you want it, but that'll be the process. Something like, oh, whoops. And I won't save this for you. I don't want to mess with your site too much. Okay, I will. If you would like that, then let me just finish doing those. No problem. And I'll delete these extra rows here. I hope you're taking notes, because I won't always be around to do these ones for you. But I'm happy to help. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm happy to help on and demonstrate these, of course. All right, well, it's a little bit messy because I'm going fast, but you can always go and edit that and move things around as necessary. Okay. All right, let me see. What was the next one? Sharona asked, can we remove the timestamp on here? Let's see. And when you ask that, are you your calendar? Sharona, when you the timestamp that you're asking about, which calendar are you? Do you mean like on these upcoming events? Okay, well, Sharona, if you can give me a little bit more information on that, then I'll return to that one. Viewer 94, I see you said we're a new staff at our library, or we don't see portlets. Can you let me know which library you're with and what your what the URL for your site is, and I can take a look at that. Okay. Reynolds Township. I need help with putting in a widget for Encore. I want to put a search bar instead of the link that's there. Oh, that's a lot of noise. If you have your microphone on, can you please mute it? Otherwise, I'll have to mute everybody, and then we won't be able to ask questions over the mic. So, let's see. Thanks, Henry. Oh, no problem, Sharona. See, I'm not entirely sure how to, like, what the programmatic answer for you for how to add a search bar in is, but I know that I know that a bunch of people have them on their sites, so I've made a note to myself to see what we can, let's see, what we'll need to do that. So I can follow up with you on that. I'll make a note. So. Okay. Okay, Viewer 94. That's cool. And of course, if you need any help from us, I know Henry's been in communication with us, and you can also log a ticket or start a forum discussion, and we'll be able to help you through that. And Sharona, let's see if you click on the events, shows up. So if I click on an event here, okay, so you're talking about this tag at the end here. I don't know that there's any. Let me click on that. So you can set your time zone, but I don't think that there's a way right now to set how that time zone shows up. So I'm afraid there's not anything we can do about that right now, but I'll make a note to bring that up to our developers. Change display options. Yeah, I know. There is a lot, and it's not necessarily useful to everybody. But I think that when that was put on, the thought is kind of err on the side of giving more information and being more informative. Okay, let me see. Where are we? Let's see. Viewer 26. On our homepage, message from the director, it shows the date of 2012. It needs to be updated, but it's updated many times since then. Why is it showing that? How do I get rid of this? Viewer 26, can you let me know what library you're with? Marianne, the military time issue, it hasn't been resolved yet, but we do have a request in with our developers to get to that as soon as they can. So we are planning on making that change, and I'll let you know when that is slated to come as soon as I find out from them. Yeah. And Sharona, I see that I see your comment about not being able to see changes unless you log out. That I'm not sure why that's happening. What kind of changes are you making that you're not able to see? Okay, when you're making portlet changes, you have to log out to see them. Yeah, that should not be happening. You should be able to, as soon as you go back to the page on which you've made a change to the portlet, you should see that change. It's possible that there's some sort of caching issue. And I'll ask. Yeah, it may be a browser option. I'm not sure. Well, that is a helpful thing to be able to do, to have multiple browsers open to see the changes, because that also helps you see kind of what things look like in different browsers. Okay, I've made a note to follow up with our developers on that, on portlets and whether those changes are caching correctly, because I wasn't aware that that was something that was happening. That there may be a change we can make to get that to work more easily without having to log in and out. Okay. Let me see. Where are we? Okay. The colony, we have a reflection of that. It changes the embed tag to be allowed, but as a script tag that I can't get to save to the custom list. The script tag, it may not like that you're trying to do that. I don't know if it'll allow that. Because I know there's a couple different places where it's saying like don't allow script tags, because those can just cause trouble more often than not. And I mean, it sounds like you have a good idea of what you're trying to do. So you're probably familiar with this stuff, but I would just be careful about what kinds of things you're injecting into your page. But yeah, I mean, it's probably because of those settings on the HTML filtering. Are you saying that the change worked now? Okay. And again, if you can mute your microphones and phones, if you're not asking a question, that'll be helpful so that we're not hearing a lot of background noise.
I suppose.
Okay, Perry, I see the top navigation bar on page isn't showing all pages in that folder. They do show in the side navigation bar, but not in the drop down. So that's a part of the setup of the top navigation bar. So that navigation bar is set to only show folders and subfolders. So pages won't ever show up in the top navigation menu. And we're working out some prospective changes to make that work differently so that you would be able to choose pages that show up in that navigation menu. But we don't have anything in place for that right now, so the simplest thing is to only display folders. If you do need something to, if you do have a page that you really want to show up there, one thing that you could do is create a folder with the same name as that page, and then set that page as the default view for that folder. And that way, when you go there, you'll still see the page. It's just that it's creating the folder will cause it to show up on that menu. So it's kind of a workaround for that. While we don't, because we don't have any customizability in that right now. So that's one way to address that. Okay, cool. All right, so I think we're caught up now. Let's see. The date displaying that shouldn't be there. Oh, yes, I did see that. What library are you with? North Adams. Okay. Do you have the URL handy for that? I can guess it and see if I get that right. Okay, cool. Oh, okay. Apparently there's an Adams and North Adams. All right. Okay, so you're talking about this message from the director right here. Let me see. It looks like it may be pulling the publication date. Yeah, so this is, if you, I don't know if you followed where I was going to get here. I can go through it again slower if you need me to. But yeah, so on the message from the director item under the dates tab, it's got a publishing date here, and so it's being listed as having been published on that date, and that's what the news item, that's what that is showing. So if you want that to be different, you can change this, and it'll show up as whatever date you want to set on there. Let's see what happens when we do that. All right, so well, now it's showing up with the current date, and I assume that what will happen with that is that so I think the news portlet, one of the things that portlet type is kind of, it's designed to show you a flow of like recent news items. So it is set up to always show a date. So if you don't want that to show up, one of the things you could do is create this news portlet as something different. So if you want that to, is the intent of this portlet to always show the message from the director and nothing else? Like, do you always want it? Well, and that's what I'm asking. Like, so if you want that portlet to just show this link all the time and not show anything else, then what you can do is you can just create a static text portlet, and then you can put in a link. You can just put in text that says like message from the director. You can even call it news and say message from the director, and then you would just be able to highlight that, and then create a link to that. And that would give you kind of the same look and feel, but without that date appearing on there. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you for your question. Sharona, want the events portlet to be on the left between static and navigation. Let's see what it looks like. Okay. So if you want, so the issue here is that the parent portlets that are being inherited from a higher level folder, so from the home folder, those are always going to show up below portlets that you create in the current folder. And that's just, it's sort of the way the system is designed, and in some sense it's arbitrary, but it's in the way that the functionality has been created, and there's no way around that except to. So one of the things you can do is block the parent portlets, and you would do that using this. You would change this do not block to block, and then you can actually recreate these portlets in the portlets assigned here section, and you would just go in to this, and you can just select everything in here and copy it, and then create a new static portlet that has the same content, and then you can go to the navigation, look at this settings here, and then create a new one here, and then move those around. So you would be able to do that. Okay. Why it will not show up on the left, or on the right? Do you have? Okay, so the portlets are not showing up on the right because you can see here this parent portlets is saying block, and so if you change that to do not block, then the events portlet will show up. And so just change that to do not block and then hit save. And so just as a warning, that will restrict the amount of space that you have for this bed of tabs here for this page to display. So this table may change the way it's displaying, and it looks pretty nice now. I don't know what'll happen when it gets smaller. Okay, cool. And just as a note, when you do that, the default setting for all these portlets is to inherit the parent settings. And so for folders inside the, well, actually, no, never mind. That's not necessary. For some of these, you can see there's a use parent settings. I was going to go into that, but I see on the parent portlets, it's just set as do not block. So in the subfolders of your programs folder, you'll still see those other ones. You will, although what might happen when you recreate those is that you're in your child folders, like your calendar and your news, you're going to have two copies of those portlets, because you're going to have the ones that were created in the home folder and then the ones that were created in the programs and calendar folder. So it causes a little bit of a confusion there, and you may need to actually go through it in these ones and recreate those portlets also the same way you did in the programs calendar folder. So it may be a little annoying to work through, but once you get it set up, it'll all work. So we have a little bit of time left. Does anybody else that's on right now have any questions or anything that they'd like me to look at with them? Yes. Yeah, just go through to all those subfolders, make sure you see what you're wanting to see. And thank you for your questions and for your patience on having to do some of those workarounds. Sure, I can help you with your calendar. Let's see. All right, let's see. So when you say your calendar, okay, so if you want to add events to your calendar, what you can do, and so I've gone up to the library calendar here. It's probably the best place to add. If you're going to add events, you can add them in various places, but that's the ideal place to put them, just because it's where they're going to show up, so it's where they should live if possible. Whoops. All right, so when you're logged into your site, you'll see this green editing bar up here. And so to add a new event to your calendar, you can go to Add New and then select Event. And that'll bring you to the setup page for that event. And so you can name it whatever you want, set your start and end times. And then you've got a couple of options for how those times will show up, and you can play with those. And then you've got your details, and those will all show up in the gray details box to the right side on the event page. And then there's a section right here for recurrence, and if you want your event to happen over and over again, then you can hit Add, and it'll bring up a form that'll give you some options on how often you want it to repeat, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. So you have some options there. And then you can put in any customized text that you want, so any information about that event, or whatever you want. You can add images and stuff too. Then you would do it in this text box here. And then if you hit save down there instead of cancel, then it'll show up as a little dot on your calendar. And when you click on the day that dot is on, it'll expand and show you the title and the time of that event. And it'll also show up in your calendar portlet right here on your main page. It'll show a little link, and when you hover over it. Let's see, your library policies. Okay. So I see that this was modified. Can you tell me about what you were trying to change on it? Sharona, the new theme button, I would very strongly recommend not touching that. We had one site, someone used that new theme button while they were trying to add a header image, and they ended up taking down their site, and we had to go in the back end and change some things around to get it to show up again. So the new theme thing is kind of a power user option. It's shown right now because you guys have full privileges, but I would caution against touching that. And as far as the carousel, the carousel is something that we're trying to get implemented, but we don't have right now. I know one library in Texas was able to. They actually used HTML to insert some carousels manually. I have started looking at that to see if there's a workaround that we can give y'all to say, like, okay, here's how you would do it through the HTML view, but I haven't finished that yet. So I know it's something that we're getting some questions about. So I'm going to try to get to it as soon as I can, but right now we don't have anything available for that. But it is on the list. So when you click on the links, it went to another library website. Yeah, so I do see that all of these links go to the Multnomah County Library. Are you wanting that to do something different? So if you want those to point anywhere else, so what you can do is you can go to edit while you're on this page, and you scroll down to the text editor, and each of these links, if you click on it, when you click on it, you'll see this insert edit link button changes color, and that indicates that there's a link in this. So if I click on that, then it brings up a dialog for changing it. And you can see that under external, it has a link to this website. So if you want to change that to something else, you can either put in whatever link you want it to go, whatever other place you want it to go to, or if you want to direct it to somewhere on this site, you can use the internal link feature to look through your site and add whatever you want it to do. Yeah, so Perry, this does look a lot like the carousels. I think there may be, depending on how the carousels are done, I think that you can have it either automatically scroll or have them manually do it. So it would look a lot like this. So that would be, once we have that in there, we will have support for that in the future, but we don't right now. But as I said, there is at least one site that has added those manually, so I know that there's a way to do it. I just haven't had a chance yet to figure out how they did that and how we can help y'all do that on your sites. But it's something that I'm looking at. So, all right, so that brings us to noon. And with that, I will finish up here. So if you have any questions between now and the next open session, feel free to log a ticket or start a forum discussion with us, and we can help you with that. Let's see. And so just thank you everybody for come in today, and there will be a recording of this posted in the webinar recording section of the help desk, and where there's also a schedule of upcoming sessions. And if there is anything else that you would like further coverage on, just let us know, and I can always do a more targeted presentation. Let's see. Viewer 98, I tried to add a background to my homepage. Not sure why it doesn't show up. Let's see. I know I had a note on. Reynolds Township. I did make a note to myself too. Once I figure out how to. And so you're asking about adding a search field onto your site. I believe that was what you were asking about, and I'm going to look up how to do that and get back to you on that. And well, thank y'all for working with us on this. Let's see. Yes, I'm still on. Let me see if I can help you get this figured out. So you're trying to add a background. So right now, what we have support for is the header background images, and so those will show up in the Slate themes. So there's 3 colors options for that right now: the Slate Pacifica, Ruby, and Sunset. So if you activate any one of those, then you'll be able to have a banner image in the background. And so, yeah, so I see you do have a home header file. One note is that it rather than .png, this one will need to be called .jpg, and I can change that for you. Just when you do change your theme, it'll show up correctly. And note that doesn't actually mean that it needs to be a PNG file or a JPEG file. Oh, whoops. It just needs to have that title on it. So that's set up now. So as soon as you change your theme to one of the Slate themes, then it should show up here. All right. Thank you for hanging in and coming with questions. And I'll go ahead and stop the recording now, and I'll see everybody at the next session.